Okay, so by looking at the front cover of my magazine, Gold, I've used vibrant colours, gold obviously, or white on a both gold and white on a black background. This has been used to catch my audience. So instantly you'll see gold, a flash of gold, and gold is a typical code of convention of the urban genre because a lot of people are attracted to gold because they see their famous artists wearing gold, and that makes them inspired to be like them. So through the use of color scheme, that has attracted the audience. Okay, I've also used some of the language on the front cover, including some of the people that will be featuring within the magazine. People such as LeBron James, artists such as Diddy, Nicki Minaj, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and The Game. These are all artists and people of the urban background which this magazine is targeted at. So obviously this has been used to target and also engage those to read this magazine. For instance, if this magazine was to say Katy Perry, not that many people of the urban background would be attracted to it because it's not targeted at them. Therefore, the use of Diddy, Drake have been used in order to target those who are interested within the urban music and urban music culture. I've also used clothing. This guy is looking very successful. This attracts every single reader. It attracts both male and also attracts female. It attracts the female audience because females like to have a nice, handsome looking man who knows how to dress himself well. And as you can see, he's wearing a white tux, which is very rare. So this shows that he is very classy, but also you can see the thuggish style through the eyes that he's given us, the readers. It attracts the male audience because yes, the male audience like to get girls, and the only way to get girls is by attracting them by being classy. This inspires them to become more classy, inspires them to be just exactly like Ace, which is featured on the front cover of the magazine. So I've used things such as color scheme, clothing, and also a bit of the language to attract and address the targeted audience, which is the urban audience. Okay, now looking at the contents page of Gold magazine, we can see that there's a regular side to it, and there's also a feature side to it, which is titled Gold Standard. From looking at it, I have used clothing again to attract the audience. Here we can see on a Gold Standard side that the featuring artist Ace is wearing a designer diesel top. This again attracts the male audience because they're inspired to become wealthy like their role model Ace. Also, I've used language on the Gold Standard such as Drake tops the record with Nothing Was the Same, which is an urban album, and if people of the urban background sees Nothing Was the Same Drake, they'll be like, yes, that relates to us because we like that kind of music, and that's the kind of artist that we tend to be inspired by. Okay, so continue reading. If you look at the regular side, we have more pictures of two guys and a lady. The guy holding a radio station looks very urbanish, looks like from the old school, which is related to Toba Valley 15 old school hip hop, bringing back the old to today's music. Here we can see Toba Valley wearing a hoodie, wearing a hat and tracksuit, which attracts the urban genre because it relates to them. It makes them feel, yes, this is someone that can relate to us because that's exactly how we feel. The majority of the urban background tend to be classed and labelled to be wearing tracksuits, hat, and tracksuit bottoms and a hoodie. So this will make people all over the UK who are from the urban background relate to this artist. They can feel like, yes, I relate to him because he's exactly like me. Just because he's famous doesn't mean that he has to be any better than me. Like he's just like me. Like we're both humans. Looking over at number 6, monthly editorial review. This attracts the professional standards. So this allows everyone who reads the magazine, not just urban people from all backgrounds, to understand that this magazine has a professional standard. So this attracts the audience because yes, we know that this is a magazine and allows them to understand that this magazine is for real. So it attracts them that this magazine is not just urban, but it's also serious and professional. We also see a mixing table, which a lot of urban people use, which is number 43, Master of the Beats. This attracts to the majority of people because people like to make beats, and within today's society, beats is what gets people going. Like right now, there's a track called Animal out, and that is getting a lot of people going because they can make beats from their own home. So using this image has attracted the audience of those who like to make beats within their own home. In addition to that, the vibrant colours, purple, pinkish, attracts the audience because yes, the pictures of clear quality, and it engages the reader's eyes to entice them to read on more. We also look at number 24, MC Knight, London's tour. This is an urban lady. She looks urbanish with the urban hairstyle, which attracts the male audience because it's a female and the male audience are enticed by females. So the use of this image showing her body has been used in order to attract the male audience. Again, colour scheme has been used to attract audience such as black, gold and white because they all contrast with each other and allows each colour to stand out clearly. As you can see on gold standard, the writing has been done in gold but with white outlining on a blackish background. So this engages the reader's eyes and allows them to know what exactly this magazine entails by the colours that engaging their eyes. And on the regulars, we can see that there's a black writing with gold outline, and this attracts the audience also because it sits well on white. Okay, now moving on to both my double page spreads with text on them. I've used primarily I've used language in order to attract and address my targeted audience. From looking at the first double page spread, now with page 53, I can see the language I've used slang language that is easily understandable by both standard English reading people and also people who use slang on a day-to-day basis. Okay, for example, in the first page 53, after watching Mello drop 50 points, I've used Mello as a slang language. It's short for Carmelo, and that is a language that even people who use standard English on a day-to-day basis should find it easy to understand. I've also used words such as homie because that is slang language and also relates to the audience of what the targeted audience of who the magazine is targeted at. In addition to that, I've used the questions I've asked, such as talking of Jay-Z. Talking of Jay-Z, I heard that you guest appeared in one of his New York City concert. You had Hove shut the place down. He used words such as Hove and shut the place down. Is it words and phrases that will tend to be used in standard English? However, this is slang such as shut the place down, which means that you tore the place apart, which also means that the concert was really good, that all the crowd was excited and involved with the concert. The reason why I use this is so that both standard English is portrayed within this text and also slang is portrayed. The reason behind this is because the urban background tend to use slang on a day-to-day basis, so they need to easily be able to relate to the magazine. However, I need to ensure that those who are not of the urban background can also relate to the magazine. So I've used standard English so that they are able to understand exactly what this magazine is about. So now looking at the double page spreads with no text, with just a pull quote. I've used pull quotes and images to attract and address the audience. For example, I've used an image of a close-up image so that both the male and female audience can see exactly how the cover star is, and it entices them to become more like them. So the female audience will like to have a man exactly like him, whereas the male audience would again like to become more like him so that they can attract the female audience. So, and I'm going to read both quotes on both DPS. On the first double page spread, the quote is saying, "I try to really capitalize off what other rappers really can't do. There are opportunities that rappers I love simply can't get because you know I don't have the tattoos. I have a different image." So this is basically saying that this is both in this text. The cover star has used both slang and standard English in order to relate to those who are reading the magazine. Within the second one, there's so much that I want to do. I feel like I'm the Magic Johnson of rap. You know, Magic was great in the court, but he's much bigger as a businessman. Basically, here the artist saying he wants to become like the businessman of rap. He wants to become more successful. He wants to become like Magic Johnson, who was a basketballer. So basketball is also a sport that relates to the urban background. So therefore, sport and music have tied into one. Now I'm going to be reading a few quotes that students of the urban background has made on my magazine, on my blog, which you can find at jasonbalogun.leightonas.blogspot.co.uk. So Kellyanne B said that my magazine had good amount of content and images. All double page spreads look realistic and consistent color scheme throughout has been used. So basically, she's been saying that my magazine looks like a real magazine. It looks like something that could be bought and something that could be placed on magazine stands throughout the UK. I'm gonna read Ahmad Khan. He said the house style of the magazine is really consistent and the colours and images are very effective. However, I think the cover lines on the front cover could be more spread out. Also, the QR code and barcode are quite wide. They could be made smaller. The Q&A is quite difficult to read because of the white background. So here he's saying that there's improvements that could be made through the Q&A and the use of the colours, which has been suggested that I should have used black background instead. I'm going to read Elba's quote. "I like how you use a strong colour scheme," again mentioning colour scheme, "and I like what the cover star is wearing on the front cover. Also, the images are of good quality." Here, Elba is saying that she likes what the cover star is wearing. So again, this tells you that what my cover star is wearing is attracting the female audience and it entices them to want to man exactly like him. She also said, however, the contents page on Gold Standard, the text is quite hard to read. Apart from that, the magazine is Gold Standard. So basically, she's saying this magazine is of good standard and can be sold in supermarkets worldwide. But she's saying that the text on the Gold Standard contents page could be improved a little bit, which I agree with. I'm going to be reading Marvelous' quote. She said, "I like the consistency of your colour scheme on the front cover and front." She said that she likes the consistency of the colour scheme and front, and that there's a great amount of content, text and images, and that I really understood the task and made it very original. She said that there could be improvement on the front used on the DPS, as it was quite hard to read, which many other people have said. So maybe I can improve my magazine by improving the size of the font, or maybe the colours used for the background in order for it to stand out. Hey, I'm with Zach Benamore. I'm doing question 5. I'm going to ask him a number of questions on how my magazine attracted him and what he thinks he can be improved and what he likes about it. So first of all, what about this magazine attracted you and why?
I think the house style attracted me because it looks really professional, and I think you took inspiration from your case studies really well and put that into your work.
Can you elaborate more on that point? Exactly, explain what about it attracts you, like engages your eye.
The consistent house style, as well as the use of images. The layout of your contents page looks really professional, and the fact that you used columns makes me want to read your magazine even more on your DPS because it looks more professional.
So, is there any bits about the magazine that you like in particular?
I think that the images used are the best element of your magazine. The only issue I would say with it is that on the double page spreads, the questions that are written in gold are really hard to read at times, because on a white background it don't stand out as much.
So, like, how would you say that bit can be improved?
I would say that you use a black background for your DPS, and the questions will stay in gold, but the text, the replies will be written in white. So then they both fit, so all the colours stand out straight away.
Okay, so you're suggesting that a black background is used in order for the text to be to stand out well. Okay. Is there any other points you would like to make regarding this magazine?
There's clear labeling on your magazine, and it also helps enhance the professionality of your publishment.
So would you say that this magazine is of professional standard and is worthy to be sold in stores?
I would say if the improvements were made, then it would be able to compete with other big magazine names on the market.
Thank you very much. Overall, many people said that the colour scheme used throughout the magazine has remained consistent, which is a good sign, as magazines that remain consistent shows that it's professional. However, many people did also say that I could have used such as black background on my DPSs in order for the text to stand out clearer. So maybe this could have been an improvement that could be made to my magazine. However, on whole, everyone said that my magazine remained consistent and had a professional standard towards it.